Up next is someone we all know and love, Franklin. He is a wonderful man, one of my favorite people, a great writer. He has a new book out, Pink Xenia, and it's fantastic. And he's kind of a nexus for a lot of us here. So, Franklin.
Thank you, Timothy. Oh. Glasses. One of the strange things that happened to me in my early life writing poetry is that, like many things, the whole institution of literature was very homophobic. And I came out when I was 21, not knowing what that would mean. And what it meant was that there were a lot of doors that were closed. The problem that I had then is, being a gay poet, is that I didn't write gay poetry. And that all the gay magazines, 90% of what was published for gay men was sexually oriented poetry. And I didn't write that kind of poetry until I was older. So, let me see if I can find this. This is called Facing Eros. Two little things by way of explanation. And one is that I open with a sentence from Rollo May. Rollo May was a psychoanalyst, an existentialist psychoanalyst that I studied in school. And one of the best books that I have read and have used as both a therapist and as a writer is his book called The Courage to Create. And the second thing is that I begin this poem, Facing Eros, with a description of a fresco that I saw in an exhibit at Emory. Unfortunately, I didn't get to go to Italy and see this fresco. But it was from a Roman villa, and I was looking at Jeffrey Adler's webpage. He's here in the audience. He paints frescoes, and I saw that he had, repainted some of what I saw there. It's on his webpage, but not this particular one. Facing Eros. Rollo May said, whereas sex is a rhythm of stimulus and response, Eros is a state of being. The old fresco, buried for centuries under Vesuvius ashes, shows a market scene. A middle-aged woman in a stall selling cupids, another younger woman of means attended by her maid ponders them. The size of little dogs, these winged fellows might be of help in affairs of the heart. The lady considers the one on her knee. The vendor offers another, holding it up by its scruff. A third hides in shadow under the table. Do you remember the most beautiful face you ever beheld? I was riding in the back of a van. We were driving on Irish country lanes. It was dusk at a crossroads. He was young, pale, no, almost translucent. He looked back at, no, through me. I had seen him before, the same only different, mestizo, dark-eyed, Flores, his last name, Juan, his first. I met him up on a mountain in North Carolina. We were camping out with others like us. It took us all night to steal away to fumble the sex for a chance to hold close for an hour or two. I know the dark stayed longer just for us. I know we cheated dawn, if only by a breath. He was there in the biggest market in rum-scented, dangerous downtown Georgetown, Guyana. He noticed me as I looked for someone else. He followed me and asked me if he could, ever so politely, if he could help me. We struck up a conversation. I invited him to my hotel for a drink. He looked like an Indian prince from a painted miniature, except for his eyes. His malaria had turned the whites red when he lived downriver and dove under waterfalls looking for diamonds. He visited me twice more. We drank the bad local rum. He had the softest skin I ever touched. After sex, we told each other everything and then we memorized, crown to soul, each other's body. My African Eros was Joe, who held my hand wherever we went, even in the Accra airport before my departure from Ghana. Joe was so handsome I had to look at him sideways. He took me up to the hills where he farmed pineapples on his uncle's land. He cut one with a machete and sliced out sweet yellow meat. He fed me by hand. He told me one day he would be chief of his tribe, and when that day came, he was kidnapped from his home, left naked for days in a hideaway, then dressed in leopard skin and seated on a golden stool where the brigands who stole him now knelt at his feet. He told me when I return he will kill a goat for a feast in my honor. All I really want, Joe, is another bite of yellow pineapple, sweet from your hand. Freddie Bolivar was wearing a very tight shirt and poured-on jeans when I met him after midnight on a high-rise rooftop in the central Venezuelan city of Maracay. My host chaperones did not approve of our flirtation. They told me later he was a fast boy from the wrong crowd. Maybe that's where he learned to kiss so long and so hard, no translation was needed for the words of the song sung by the moon. And though I never saw him again after the party was over, they wouldn't let me. I can't imagine who I would be had that kiss never happened. I was a kabuki virgin before Masanobu took me, at great personal expense on a school teacher's salary, to the National Theater my first night in Tokyo. Jet-lagged, I fell asleep in intervals, waking when the music would swell or an actor exclaim, and tremble wide-eyed for the audience to cheer. Back in my hotel room, between love and sleep, we shared all we had, and when we trembled, it was only for each other. We followed each other from bar to bar until we found ourselves alone on a French Quarter balcony well after midnight in the city of desire. He came back with me to my guest house. We undressed, caressed, and fell down on the bed. The sex was searing in a way that language misses and jazz understands from trumpet to trombone. When I woke up the next morning, he was gone. He had not hurt me or robbed me as he could have. He took everything he brought with him, even his name. Thank you.